asking the people that have come back to describe the Nightstone.
Okay. All right, let's bring our characters back in. And we pick back up down here at the keep. Okay, so remember to hit record. That would be more smart. Zoom in a little bit for our viewers. All right, so Tegan leads Ian in through the keep doors. And when you get in, Ian, you can see that the group of people are off to the left around the same table where we eventually had found Lady Nandar's body. And what you see is the Magister is sitting at the table. There seems to be a large document in front of him. And Sidiri and Daphne are kind of standing there. And then they turn as they hear the door open and Tegan walks in. And Tegan kind of steps up and says, Ian just popped in and wanted an introduction. So, and she kind of bows to the Magister and she says, "This is Ian, leader of the heroes and stout warrior." And then she kind of just gives this hand wave of, "You have been introduced."
You have been introduced. I don't bow, but I do nod my head in respect towards the Magister, and I acknowledge Daphne and Sidiri.
Okay.
And I turn to Tegan, and I say, I also wanted to introduce the guard, Tegan, or whatever her last name is, if I ever got it, for she fought very bravely with us, and even though her ordeal was great in the Dripping Caves, Echo Caves? Dripping Caves. This one is Dripping Caves.
Yeah, wrong
Dripping
adventure.
The Dripping Caves, she fought very bravely, and yeah, it was only 2 of them that survived very bravely, along with the rest of the guards who died in the encounter with the goblins. I just wanted to... No, that's it.
All right, yeah, and as you begin to speak, he actually gets up and from the chair in the document that he's in, he walks over and he holds his hand out to shake your hand, and he listens to you intently as you compliment Tegan. And from glancing at Tegan, she's kind of blushing a little bit. She didn't realize that's what you were going to do, and she just kind of stands there and almost at attention like a guard would. They have that stance of guards, her and Sidiri. It's just their kind of parade rest kind of thing. And then Boldazar, Magister Boldazar, he says, "I've been hearing stories from Sidiri and Daphne of the help and aid you've given this town. And I want to just thank you also from Waterdeep itself that you were here to aid this town in its time of need. Sometimes this world can be very dark and bleak, and you were a ray of sunshine for them at a moment's need." And he kind of walks back over to the chair and he sits down back in front of the document and he says, "You're welcome to stay. We're currently looking at the last will and testament of Lady Nandar." And Daphne's kind of standing with him, and then Sidiri and Tegan again are kind of at parade rest, kind of. And then Tegan just kind of nods to Sidiri, and Sidiri nods, and then she says she kind of slinks back off. She's like, "I don't want to be hanging out with higher ups," and she heads back to the barracks. But you were welcome to stay if you wished. And begins reading over this document again, this big parchment that has crests and a lot of common written on it, and he's going through it several pages and he's reading through it.
Cool. Yeah, I stand there sort of with the same stance as Sidiri, probably a little bit more, not regal, respectful, I guess, just a little bit more straight up.
Okay.
And I just stand
a
there.
martial stance, we'll say.
Yeah, martial stand.
Okay. So let's give anybody up in the town a chance to do something while they're doing this. It's probably about 11:30. Ardreth, you probably are sleeping for another 30 minutes unless somebody wakes you up. Anybody else? Here's an opportunity for anything else.
Yeah, so Jarrel is going to take the time to go over to some of the folks that have come back from the caves and just kind of talk with them, see how they're doing, how they're settling in. And while he's doing that, he's going to ask them if they know anything about the Nightstone and maybe if they can describe it. And if they do describe it, he's going to try and do some sort of sketch on a piece of paper, just so he has a record of it in his book.
None of these people are where you actually see them.
They're just holding
I just moved them, to get them out of the way of where everything was.
All right.
Some of you don't actually see any of the townspeople at the moment. They're either in their houses or most of the children are at the keep.
Okay, then he's going to go to the houses and just politely knock on the doors and just kind of check in on them.
Yeah, let me see where...
While he's doing that, he's going to ask the questions.
Where people would be. Which one survived? That will be a good question. All right, so that's them. All right, let me organize that a second because I'll have to move people around. Who do we have here? Okay, so they died. Oh, wait. No, we got a bunch of people up here. Okay, that's right. Oh, okay, that would be there. A lot of chat going on.
It's making fun of the dwarf.
Hovarns, where are you guys at? Four FE. Oh, 4D. I gotcha. Okay, that'd be here. She's over there. Nespers. Okay. Yeah, 4E would be them, but they'll be in the keep. So we'll put them in the keep. All right. Agonar. Nope, I don't think we have any of them. Nesper. Yep. Here. And here.
As he's doing this, did anybody catch the names of the halflings? The little baby halflings?
Yeah, they're all of the names?
Yeah, the little children.
Yeah, there was Midge, Barley, Nancy, and Dollop.
Barley?
Barley.
Barley. That's who I didn't catch. Midge and Barley. I got Burr and Minna. That's all I got to write down.
All right.
Thank you.
I think I've got everybody. 4E. No. 4F. I don't know where this person comes from. Let me look. There's one more person I have. Let me go to the Dripping Caves. That'll tell me.
Sorry, I didn't mean for you to do all that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. There's a person here. I don't know. I don't recognize the name or why it's there. Shoot.
Is it the tiefling?
Jarrel.
You forgot about the tiefling last time.
Yeah, the tiefling is... Nope, that's the Agonar. That group is not... Although I think they're dead. Yeah, so I don't know who Mistrum is. Okay, well, whatever. I'll figure it out. All right, so they are now in the area where they should be. There's Agonar.
All right, so I'm going to I'm gonna come down to this house here and knock on its door first.
Okay. Let me go to that spot. Okay. So yeah, answering the door. Of course, they don't put all this stuff in one spot.
That'd be too easy.
I need the Dripping Caves again. And you're going to the Ostra farm. Okay. All right. So answering the door is a mid-50s human. Answers the door.
I try and look as disarming as I can.
Give me a
Even though
charisma roll.
Would I roll that with a disadvantage because my clothes are
In the
kind
sun?
of
Yeah.
charred? Well, I mean they're in tatters right now.
You're going for disarming, though.
Yeah.
The tattered all might help.
That's true. All right. What was it? Persuasion?
Charisma. Just straight charisma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So he doesn't look necessarily frightened of you, or doesn't look aghast or anything.
Okay.
And he answers the door, and he's like, "Can I help you, young fella?"
So Jarrel smiles. I'm just checking in on to see how you are doing, how you're settling in.
He kind of points at the big rock that you can see that has smashed half of his home. He's like, "Well, normally I might complain about a giant rock in my house, but we have our lives, so it's a wonderful morning."
Indeed. My name is Jarrel. Jarrel. What is your name?
He introduces himself as Bryn Ostra.
Very sorry about your house, but as you say, you have your life, which is a very good thing. Is your family... do I see anybody else in there with him, beyond him?
Behind him, is another human male, maybe mid-20s, and a elderly female. Well, I'd say mid-50s female.
Okay, so
in the background.
So he asks how his family is doing.
You see a pained look in his eyes, and he doesn't speak for a moment, and he says, "Well, having lost my mother and my sister during the attack in the caves, our family's trying to hold up."
Jarrel nods. I'm very sorry to hear that. Um, if there's anything you need, please let me know. Um,
He's like, "Are you good with a hammer?"
he gives him kind of a sheepish look. I'm willing to try, but I'm not sure how much skill I can produce.
Yeah, so he kind of walks you over, and you can see he's kind of set up a little small work area. He hands you a hammer, and he's beginning to try to fix some of the wood structure. And he's just kind of pointing at you as he gives you a hammer, like he thinks you know what you're going to do. And he kind of he's listening to you, but he kind of goes to starting to fix some of his house.
Okay, so I'll go along with that. And start. I guess I'll kind of assess what he's trying to do, and just start hammering things to try and fix whatever the issue is. And as I'm doing that, I'm talking to him enough that others can hear, and I'm asking about the Nightstone. So it appears that when the town was attacked, that the Nightstone was taken. What do you know of the Nightstone?
And he kind of looks over his shoulder and he says, "Wow, I didn't even notice that it was gone when we got back. I guess I was just not even paying attention. They took the Nightstone?" He asked you.
Indeed, they did. There is a big hole where it once was.
He says, "That's amazing. That was probably several hundred pounds. It would be amazing for somebody to just take that away."
I believe there were giants that took it.
That would explain it, he says, as he begins to hammer more nails.
What is the significance of the Nightstone? Can you describe it? Maybe we can locate it.
It's the Nightstone. It's always been here. It's why the town has been named. Nobody really knew what it was or how it got there. It's always been there.
Okay. So he asks him if he can describe it, and so as he describes it, Jarrell will pull out his book and just kind of sketch it in there, and ask if it looks more or less like what he was describing, if he's able to describe it.
Yeah, he says it was a giant black stone, maybe the color of like obsidian, and it stood in the middle of the village area, almost like a megalith kind of structure. There were a few strange glyphs carved into it, and even traveling mages and wizards and magical types have all come and taken a look at it and cast all kinds of different spells, but nobody was able ever to discern what it was.
Has anybody noted the glyphs? Has written them down somewhere?
He says probably some people did, but I wouldn't know who.
Okay. All right. So I sketch kind of what he describes, and confirm that this is a ballpark likeness.
Yeah. He's able to help kind of adjust your drawing so that you have like a ballpark look of what it looked like.
Okay. All right, cool. So I continue to help him for maybe about 30 minutes, and then say that I need to go check on some of the other townfolk.
All right.
I hope what I've been able to do is help.
And then go ahead and give me let's see, how about a wisdom check? Yeah, you were actually able to guess enough that you ended up helping him a little bit. You didn't actually hurt what he was trying to do with the wood and the nails.
That's
and the
good.
hammer. All right.
2 thumbs or 4 thumbs. He couldn't manage to break it.
Yeah. All right. So while that conversation's going down, let's us fly back down to the keep. And Magister Baldassar has finished reading the will on the table, and he's like, well, from everything that I can see here, this does appear to be Lady Nandar's signature. This appears to be her last will and testament. And he gives a quizzical look at Daphne, and he says, it appears she's left her name, title, and lands to Daphne Featherstone, her lady in waiting. And Daphne looks shocked. Sideri looks kind of happy, but shocked too, because nobody really knew what would happen. He says there are no living relatives from Lady Nandar, and it is mentioned in this will that if there are no living relatives at this point, that the keep and the name is to be passed on to Daphne.
Can I do an insight check on Daphne to see if her reaction was genuine?
Sure. No, she planned this whole thing with the giants. Yep. No, go ahead.
Insight, yeah.
Insight.
Yep, totally genuine. God damn, these rolls tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it is a shocked look on her face. And she even says kind of to the Magister, she's like, that can't be right. She would not have. I'm just a servant. Why would she give the keep to me? What would I do with the keep? And the Magister is still looking at some of the parts of the document, and he says, those that own the different buildings in the towns, they retain ownership of those buildings, but Lady Nandar retained the land deeds to the town. So even though they keep the deeds to their buildings, she owns the land that those buildings are on. And he kind of starts detailing out the remaining things that are to go to Daphne. And he's kind of listing off things that are in the keep, probably things that you may or not have seen, Ian, at this point. And he kind of looks to Daphne and he says, I'm willing to stay on here for a couple of days or so to help you get everything in order. But as far as a legal document is concerned, you are now the Lady Daphne Featherstone of Nightstone. And these lands are now yours to rule.
Interesting.
I sort of wishing I wasn't a total dick to her in the cave.
Off with her head. No,
I look over to Daphne and I nod in her direction and I say, you did well in protecting those in the dripping cave after you survived the goblins. I'm sure you will do just as right by them, being now Lady Daphne Featherstone of Nightstone. Brother?
Featherstone. Yep. And she's definitely becoming overwhelmed now as she begins to think of it. And imagine too, you're standing in the middle of a destroyed keep, with a town that's been ravaged, with half of the villagers dead at this point. The other half here. And yeah, as much as somebody might think, oh, wow, you just got this great, you just won the lottery. She won the worst type of lottery, the lottery of responsibility at this point. And so he's kind of talking about some of the things are there. The only thing that really kind of stands out to you also, Ian, is he does say that the treasury of 5,000 gold will transfer to Daphne, but that money is in Waterdeep. So she also has a small sum. He says small sum, but you hear 5,000 gold and you think it's a huge amount. A small sum of gold that Daphne has access to, which is also transferred in the inheritance. And he kind of, when he says that, he kind of looks around and he says, though that will make a small dent into the cost of probably the repairs of even just this keep, let alone anything having to do with the town.
And that's the only interesting thing I heard from the things you listed
Other than
off.
that, everything else was, furniture or maybe some animals that were in the stables, clothes, all the other things that would come with a household.
All right, and only the small area of land basically is hers.
Basically, yeah, the Nightstone, yeah. Nightstone town.
And the Nightstone.
Well, the town of Nightstone is what I mean.
And just out of curiosity, the Nightstone wasn't listed off, or the stone was
No, it
listed
wasn't.
off?
It wasn't something that was listed separate.
Okay.
And as all of that's going on, at the end of that, Sidiri kind of marches straight up to Daphne, kind of gives a guard salute, and pledges that though Lady Nandar has passed away, if you would have it, I wish to pledge to you as a guard, as I did to Lady Nandar, and I will stay if you think you need me. And Daphne's really overwhelmed and quite shocked look on her face, and just kind of gives her a nod, and Sidiri assumes the very guard-like stance again.
All right. Cool. I continue to stand there looking at both of them.
Yeah, and Magister Baltazar kind of stands up from that. He recommends that Daphne also write up a will at this point. That lady, and he makes sure that he emphasizes her title each time he talks to her now, to try to keep that impression, that etiquette, to get her used to it. And he says, we should continue the tour of the town so that we have an idea of how much it's going to take to go ahead and get your town back on its feet. And we can maybe try to start making some plans, or if you're willing to let me help you, we can start making some plans on how you can repair this and what you're going to do. And I'll let you go ahead and do another insight check on Baltazar.
Hey, it wasn't the one.
Yay.
You were due.
Yeah, you're getting an honest vibe from Baltazar also. You're not getting I'm being deceived by anybody at this point so far.
Okay.
Okay. And they're going to he rolls up the will, he puts it in a protective case, and they bring it along with them, and then they go back out, and he leads Daphne and Sidiri, and they're heading back into town to continue surveilling the rest of the damage in the town.
I head out with them, but
Okay.
I will separate from them once after we hit about that point, and I'll go find someone to help with these rocks and stuff. I'll go help out the town people a little bit.
Okay.
Once I see.
Yeah,
Finn
they're going to
and,
go here and here. And they're just going to keep they're going to keep going by, and they stop at each little place, and maybe there's a small conversation about maybe who lived there, and they look at it, and he talks about, what it would cost to go ahead and fix this area. They're looking at the outer wall and the towers and pointing at different things.
Yeah,
So we'll let that go on. Rest of the group. Let's go ahead and say it's noon by now. Ardreth, you have woken to an empty chapel. Everybody seems to have left you to sleep.
I'm gonna come back to the chapel and just kind of try and see if he's awake.
You
Morning.
you see Ardreth rubbing his eyes as he wakes up.
First thing.
Morning, Jarrel. How are you today?
Good morning. There's lots to do.
Well, why didn't someone wake me up?
You seemed like you needed to sleep it off.
Well, thank you then.
But now it's time to work.
All right.
The townsfolk, some of them are back in their houses, and they some of them need assistance trying to clear the rubble and fix things.
Well, is there a hammer nearby?
I'm sure some of them have tools. I don't know. I helped one family and they had the hammers.
All
My
right.
guess is that everybody has a hammer.
Well, I will clean up my stuff around me and then head outside to go help with the town and help repair.
Very well.
Anybody else from the group at this point?
We're moving the rocks down there.
Okay.
And I'm
I
gonna
was just-
try and go back to check out some of the other houses. I'm sorry, Ian. Is there?
I'll
Can
follow
we-
Jarrel since he seems to know what's going on around here.
All right. I can't remember which house it was that had the glyphs on the door.
That was. You recall it being over in this direction somewhere.
Okay.
Tigray knows where it is. The Tigray's
Hey,
dead.
let's ask Tigray. Oh, damn it.
We could pull a Ouija board out and do it.
Anybody have a talk with the dead?
I don't. So I'm going to go over here and I'm gonna examine the door, see which one has the glyph on it.
Okay, so it is. Let me go through the notes again real quick. It is. Yeah, it's this building here.
Okay. So I'm gonna go back to that building and knock on the door and see if anybody's back home there.
Yeah, when you knock on the door, a tiefling answers. A woman you're not really sure of her age. And she kind of stands there and says, "Can I help you?"
Yes. Just checking in to see if everybody is settling back in.
And she says, well, I've come back and I noticed that somebody tried to kick my door in. But other than that, I'm just arranging and straightening things up. And she has kind of a pained expression on her face when you say, "Has everybody settled in?"
So Jarrel asks if
Did you guys ever get in this house? I don't remember, Tigray. Did you guys get in?
Yep, and that's where
Yeah.
we took the idol from, and
Oh, okay. Okay, I forgot about that. Okay. Yeah, so she has kind of a, let me change that a little bit. She says to
who
you,
has the idol? Well, I'm assuming somebody took everything off of your after you died.
no, Tigray never had the idol.
Oh, okay. So
I don't think, right, Greybeard?
No, nope.
Okay.
yeah, so she says, yeah, she's just been cleaning up after obviously somebody had ransacked her home. So she seems quite, I mean, and she says again, I guess I should be thankful that a rock hasn't come through and destroyed my home like so many of the others, but to be vandalized and to be, is just heartbreaking.
There were a lot of goblins that came through the town ransacking it.
Oh, I think you should
Probably
give me a
not.
roll for persuasion, lying roll.
He doesn't know.
It was true.
Yeah, Jarl doesn't know.
Oh, I thought Jarl
Yeah,
was
he's
down
make-
there with you guys.
No, it's
No.
just me and T.
Okay.
And we didn't tell anybody.
As
Or did
it
we-
should be.
I
Did
think
we
I
sh-
saw the door with the symbol on it, but I don't think after that was after that point, and I don't think we went in. I know Tigray and Greybeard did. But...
And you might have told
Well,
us.
you knew
I
they
don't-
went in
not
though.
quite after.
Oh, I did.
I'm asking.
We did it.
You tell
Oh.
me. Did you know they went in or not? Because you just came back down here.
Well, I came down because I did come by here and I saw the symbol on it, and I recall that the people were looking for somebody, and I know that the party had a discussion about that symbol on the door,
They
and
did
maybe that
like
was the person.
they did like a tour later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Sounds good.
So yeah, I offer that there were goblins. They came through, and we ran them off. And then I introduced myself. My name is Jarrel. What is your name?
And she introduced herself as Destiny Aganar.
Destiny Agatha.
You said the door was kicked down and the house was in disrepair?
No, this house does not look damaged. The only thing that was damaged was the door. Because I think, remind me, did Greybeard kick it down? Or did you pick locks?
I think in the end we kicked it open.
Yeah, because I think like you didn't.
Sounds
You
familiar.
weren't able to unlock
Okay.
it. Yeah, yeah. So
Well,
basically,
yeah.
you just
I'll
see that
start-
the door has been kicked in, and she kind of
Gotcha.
propped it back up.
I'll ask her, how did you get these scuff marks down about a foot off the ground? And I'll
She's
start
like,
trying
yeah,
to...
she looks at him and she's like, "I don't know how I got those.
These
It's
look
a
like
mystery."
dwarf Nikes.
What size are those? And she's like etching out the size. Maybe I'll start looking at the feet of people. No,
Hobnail boots? Who would wear hobnail boots?
I don't-
I'll start
it's a
taking
boot
look.
that says the word dwarf on it because dwarves
Dwarf.
always put it.
I didn't have Nike.
What's their Nike? Stone.
I'll start trying to fix it then.
Yeah, I'll assist and I'll ask. I'll note the glyph on the door and ask if this is an interesting symbol. May I ask what it represents?
She says, "That's one of my old family curses that I wrote on the door," but she doesn't explain any further. And she kind of watches you start to fix her door, and she's like, "If you guys seem like you know what you're doing," she goes back to cleaning up the house that's in disarray.
Do we need to roll to see what we're doing? Do I
Um,
know what I'm doing since I was helping the other guys?
no, I'll let you guys kind of sit there and figure it out. Just putting the door back on hinges, and
Okay.
I mean, you're not sure how you're going to figure out how it could become a door that could be locked again, but you could get it so that it just swings open correctly.
Yeah, that's fine as long as we can get the door closed. So I'll ask.
Yeah, she has a
Curtis.
broom and she's sweeping up debris and stuff, cleaning stuff.
The curse does not sound good.
And
What sort
she
of
kind of says, "I think that's why they call it a curse."
I chuckle. What sort of curse?
You know, the type that an old lady might use to ward off those who shouldn't be here. And she kind of gives you an eye.
Do I know if it's an eye insinuating that we should leave, or if it's an eye just?
Yeah, she's not trusting of your group at this point. You're not getting like trust from her.
Okay. So I'll just return focus to helping Ardreth with the door.
Okay.
I also sketched down what the glyph looks like. Do we know what it looks like?
It's not just a glyph. It's like it's
Or
basically it's a sentence. It's a word, several words that are written in a language you don't know.
Oh, okay. Go. Is there a visual representation of it, or
No.
can I just say that I've written it down?
Sure. Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Actually, what are you writing it down on?
In my notebook.
She kind of sees you doing that, and she kind of gives you a look of, you might be careful trying to write down words of power. You may not find you like what happens. And she continues cleaning.
So I pause at that. um, how would I have dealt with that before? Because I'm sure this isn't the first time I've come across this or something like it.
Well, it's the idea of a magical ward.
All right.
Without really having training in that, it would be tough to.
So I would instead maybe write it in shorthand or something, or something.
Yeah, you can get an
Describe
approximation
what
of
the
it.
symbols
Yeah.
look like.
Enough that if somebody else looked at it that knew what it was, they would know it.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And continue working on the door.
Okay.
Actually, I do that after we finish working on the door.
Yep. And they are done in a very decorative kind of way. So it not only is it something she meant to do, but it also has been done in a very artistic and decorative way that accents the doorway and the door jamb itself. So there is some artistry to it, but it's also the part that she told you to.
Okay.
Okay. By the time that's happening, down the road, you see the group of the Magister, Daphne, and Sidiri are stopping at another house. You guys are fixing a door. Any others? You guys are moving a rock? Is that what you're doing, Ian?
Yeah, I'm assisting the new guys with this rock.
Okay. So the Ostras, this is the Ostra family. And you can help. And Finn and Coffee are there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, you guys begin to start wedging rocks out of the indentation in the ground, and you can start to try to roll them. They're round enough that they're not too bad to roll once you get them going. Where are you going to start putting these rocks?
Are they too big for a wagon?
Yeah, you wouldn't know how to lift them up on a wagon unless you had maybe 4 or 5 of you. You're not even sure if the wagon would hold them. They're pretty heavy.
Can we throw them in the hole?
You could get a few of them in there. You would fill the hole pretty quickly.
Better than someone tripping and falling in there, right?
We could roll them off the drawbridge into the water.
Yep, the water's pretty deep out there.
Sure.
Okay,
Do it.
so that'll take several hours of working then. Okay, so that's several hours of work. You guys are probably going to work on the door for, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Greybeard, you're the only one I haven't heard what you've been doing this whole time.
I was just waiting politely. I'm cleaning up my inn or my tavern because I have not heard that Featherbottom has become the lady of the town yet, which will cause Great Depression. But that's a bridge we'll burn when we get to it.
Okay. All right, and so you'll just spend the whole day because it's going to take several days of cleaning and clearing. I just assume you spend most of the day doing that.
Yeah, and I'm avoiding people,
Okay.
except anyone who comes into the inn. I try to, put on that, just getting the job done, cleaning, blah, blah, blah kind of thing. But the second they walk out of the room, my shoulders slump again, and I'm focused on the task at hand. It's kind of like putting a ship back together after you've been in a horrible storm,
Okay. So yep, we'll have you. And only Zolkin comes in and out every now and then. He goes up to the room, and then he's there for a while, and then comes back down. And the mercenaries are still camped outside. They're not really doing much yet. They are taking turns on the guard, and the constables go and meet up with our magistrate. And they begin to walk with the magistrate in their black dusters. The guard has changed. Alara has taken over the guard at the tower. Kaelin has gone down to the barracks area. They're beginning to clean up the barracks and the keep, which has plenty of crap they need to start clearing out also. And you see various villagers and different people that are either cleaning their houses or beginning to move stuff. So there's just kind of work happening throughout the whole thing. And they continue their... Magistrate Baltazar continues doing a full tour of Nightstone. Are we just going to let all that happen? Is there anything that needs to happen? Or can I skip through that pretty quick and say they've done their tour of Nightstone?
Sounds good.
I'm down with that.
Okay.
I would like to do one last thing. So after we finish up with Destiny, I ask, as we're kind of heading back up toward the square, I just kind of mentioned to Ardreth that perhaps we should talk to Zoltan and see if this possibly is the
Zolkin?
person that he's looking for. Or Zolkin. Don't mess with the Zoltan. Zolkin.
I think that sounds like a good plan.
All right, so we'll head back and ask Zolkin. Man, that started off as a joke and it's just sticking with me. So I'm gonna ask him if did the person that you were looking for, Kella Darkhope, did she have possibly any aliases?
He gives you kind of a weird look. And he kind of says, I'm sure she probably went by many names, depending on where she was trying to hide.
Well, very well. I just kind of shrugged my shoulders.
Okay.
Did he ever describe what she looked like?
I don't know if you guys ever asked that or not. I don't recall.
So I ask him to describe the person that he's looking for.
Okay. Let me see if I still have that piece.
You seem to be helping the town, so with all of the people that have come back, maybe we can help you locate.
And as you say that, he says, oh no, I was sure to watch everybody that walked in through that gate. Okay, so let's see. That would be... Do I have that description? So he describes her as being a female human. No, it doesn't look like it gives me, so I guess I'll make it up. That it has long black hair, is probably in the area of 5'6". Brown eyes. No other distinguishing scars or tattoos or anything like that.
Okay. So I'll just note that I have her description.
Okay.
Okay. If we find her, I'll be sure to let you know.
He says, oh, well, thank you. I'm sure she's not in this town. We've searched far and wide already. I'm afraid we'll have to continue on our journey soon.
And Jarrel nods.
Okay, so the rest of the day goes by with, I guess, the working montage of people helping the villagers out. And towards the end of the day, we'll have Sidari will come and fetch the heroes and Zolkin to meet down at the keep as the magistrate has summoned them before him. And they've finished there. So I'm going to bring them down. And we'll put everybody down in the keep. And so he summons the heroes and Zolkin to the keep.
Oh, he summons us?
Yes.
Okay.
Whoa, too far. All right. Zolkin, it's the last guy. Okay, so once everybody is gathered, it's getting to be dinner time, or maybe just after dinner time. Maybe people have finished eating. You've got the Sidiri comes and rounds everybody up and says that the Magister has summoned you and would like to speak with everybody. And then everybody kind of shows up down at, I assume everybody goes down to the keep. Anybody not going to go? Anybody going to disobey the summons?
Nope, I'm there.
Okay. All right. So Magister Baltazar and Daphne is there, and as you guys walk in, he says, "Thank you for coming. I'm sure it's been a trying day for everybody, even a trying week, but after going over the legal documents of Lady Nandar, he kind of holds his hand out and he says, as executing her last will and testament, Daphne has been given the title of Lady Daphne Featherstone, and the deeds and titles and possessions of the Nandars have been passed to Daphne Featherstone." He says, "I've volunteered to stay and help Daphne with assessing all of the damage, and we're probably going to end up going back to Waterdeep to hire some work crew and have them come back and help with some of the rebuilding, as we're going to need a true stonemason if she's going to try to fix this keep and make it safe once again, and even probably carpenters and laborers to help the townsfolk out, as there's probably not enough. As he says, there's not enough townsfolk here to be able to do all of this repairs on their own." Daphne seems shocked to most of you. Still does not look, any too different to you. Still dressed in her handmaiden's garb at this point, has not changed or anything like that. And just kind of listens intently as Magister Baltazar kind of informs everybody. And
I'd like to do an insight check on Daphne to see if her shock is genuine,
sure.
or
Go
if
ahead
there's
and make a
something
roll.
else at play there.
My shock is genuine.
Yeah, it's genuine shock. You're not feeling any. You don't feel like she's trying to fool or hide anything at this point.
Okay.
Baltazar also says, I've mentioned to Daphne has mentioned that she wanted to reward the heroes, and he kind of waves his hand to the heroes, and he says, and that would be a right and proper thing to do. Though he says, I caution that I've cautioned her that she be careful in such a reward, as the money she needs now to fix this place, the keep and the town, and to get this town back up and running is extraordinary. But I'm not dissuading her from trying to offer you a reward for all that you have done. As you have acted in heroes fashion, you should be rewarded in some way. So Daphne kind of moves forward, and she says that I would like to present to you, if I could, 100 gold each from a treasury. Although I don't have that money here, Magister Baltazar has told me that money is in Waterdeep currently. But I can give you a writ that will give each of you 100 gold that you can cash in at the bank back in Waterdeep. And so she has these papers prepared, and she hands those out to each one of you. And it's basically kind of an official-looking writ that has her signature at the bottom, that, and the Magister has a stamp that he's put on it of the Waterdeep that would allow you to turn that in for money from the bank, basically. So you have a writ for 100 gold.
Nice. I'm very thankful to her and appreciate her kindness.
I say, "Oh, thank you, my lady. I would gladly return this to you, and I'll bring more money into the town if you'd give me a chance to repair that inn."
And as you're saying that, Zolkin kind of steps forward and says, and he looks to you and he says, "That's a fine offer, Sir Dwarf." And he says to Daphne as he bows to her that I also would be willing to buy the inn for my benefactor from Waterdeep, and they have allowed me to offer you 5,000 gold for the ownership of the inn. And Daphne kind of looks from one person to the other, and she's not really sure what to do. And that seems like a large sum of money to her.
Can she do math?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Some dwarven pocket lint versus 5,000 gold.
You got to up your game, Greybeard.
I bow.
Smooth talker.
I bow so low that my beard touches the ground, and I say, if that is my lady's will, and I take a step back.
And she kind of has a little bit of a pained expression, like she wants to just be able to give you the inn, but she also realizes she needs money. You see all of this broiling in her head as she's thinking about this, and that the idea that she would have more funds to fix the town immediately seems to weigh on her now. And reluctantly she says, "I thank you very much, Lord Greybeard." She even calls you Lord Greybeard. But I think the town needs all the help it can get as soon as we can get it. With so many families that have lost loved ones, and even so many children that no longer have parents, I believe we need the funds now to help us get back on our feet.
And
Zolkin bows, and Zolkin gives you a bow of a well played, or just like two people at an auction that have been bidding on something and then has won.
And I step forward towards the lady again, and I'm like, "Well then, here, this," and I hand her the deed for the money back. I say, keep it for Tigray, my partner who never left that cave."
Okay, and she awkwardly takes that back, and is not quite sure, but she keeps it, and she just gives you a nod.
I also move up, and
okay.
And I say that I don't want to seem ungrateful, but you need this money a lot more than I. And I give her back as much as it hurts my soul, I give her back the 100 gold piece of paper. Give it back to her.
All right, she awkwardly takes that back, and the slightest watering of the eye starts to happen. It's a little bit of water underneath the eyes, just a tiny bit.
And I don't feel quite so noble and make no effort to return the money.
Okay. Any last? I guess that's Jarla's the last. Or
Yeah.
can I move on?
Who gave the writ back?
Ian has, and Greybeard has. The only other ones that would have one would be you and Ian. Coffee and Finn would not at that point. She doesn't really know Coffee and Finn.
Wow, Coffee and Finn. They didn't do
I will
anything.
say she hands
That's
to
awesome.
Ian the writ for Tigray. So you have the writ that would have been Tigray, and you have the writ that would have been Armel's. So you have those two also.
Oh shit. Oh god. I give back Armel's, but I keep Tigray's.
Okay. And as you give back Armel's, definitely small tears have started to stream down her cheek a little.
And I say he would have wanted you to keep this also. Do well for the town. Oh, my heart. Oh god, it hurts so much, guys. It hurts so much.
So as I accept the writ, I bow appreciatively, and I do keep it.
Okay. So with tears on her cheeks,
And under my
and
breath, I say to Jarrel, finally a sane one around here.
the monk who wants money.
And I kind of, at the side of my mouth, just say, I am practical.
So she takes those writs back, and then she faces you again, and she says, well, I would ask one more quest of you. And she says, I know that you came to our town, and she still calls her Lady Nandar, had hired you to help our town. And even though you may not have, were not able to do the original agreement, you helped this town 10 times more than that agreement ever was. And I thank you for doing that. And she says, I would wish to hire you for another mission. I understand Magister Boldasar has informed me of the dangers of the road of late, of giant attacks that have happened across all of the Sword Coast. And just even traveling has become more and more dangerous. She says, I would like to hire you to take a message to my family who currently lives in Tribor. And in it, I would also like you to take a sum of money that would allow them to bring my family back here. And she says, and I don't mean to ask you that you need to bring them here. I only ask that you make sure that the message arrives and that this money that I give to you for them to acquire transportation back here, that I may bring my family now here to Nightstone Town. And she looks at you, she kind of looks at you all expectantly as she has tried to use the proper words. She has tried to use the authoritative lady, I am the lady, I am a noble voice, offering a noble quest to heroes of the realm. And she's trying to do all of that, and she with the voice cracking here and there, with tears down her cheek a little bit, and her trying to do or pretend to be the way she always thought Lady Nandar was.
So Jarl is going to just quietly clear his throat and, kind of bow his head and say, with the greatest respect, the mission that Lady Nandar hired us for wasn't exactly, in my estimation, above board. Nobody knew of this mission. I don't know. I don't know if it was a personal agenda or if it was something for Nightstone.
She kind of looks at you and she says, anything that would have been Lady Nandar's personal agenda would definitely have been for Nightstone. And she seems pretty defiant when she says that.
And I just kind of gestured to the guards and toward the guardhouse and say, nobody knew of this mission except her and us.
And she says, I knew of it, and no, she would never have told the guards. It was a mission of utmost importance, and she would have only included those she thought were a part of that mission. She would not have spoken to anybody else about it.
And the negotiation that was supposed to happen with I can't recall her name, but the elven leader, the elven they did not know about it.
And you see tears begin to stream down her face again, and she says, and her voice breaks, and she says, Lady Nandar never had the chance to make the meeting, and she just kind of cries a little bit and then tries to gather herself.
So Jarrel just kind of has just he doesn't really have an expression. He's just kind of thinking about things, and
the elf's name was Orana Swiftrunner.
Orana, that's right. And it was ill-advised, but nonetheless, if there is anything we can do, and I kind of look to the party just to kind of see if they're on board, we will do what we can.
And
step forward
Daphne,
on that one.
Daphne looks to you, to the rest, to see if they have an answer.
Coffee will step forward on that and say, of course.
Sounds good.
Sure, we will assist you in this, Lady Featherstone.
Yeah, and she seems awkward when she hears it, that little half smile of awkwardness when she hears that.
All right, cool.
But if there are any part of the plan that are not laid in place, we need to know.
Any part of the plan?
Well, if there's any developments or anything that are going, what he's trying to ask is, just keep us in the loop on everything. If there's any plans or anything that are made, that might impact what we're trying to do to help the town.
Okay, yeah, she gives you a nod of not quite understanding what you're meaning, I guess. But she does give you a nod of like, okay, but you get the idea that she doesn't quite understand what you're asking her.
I'll let it go.
Yeah. There's miscommunication all the time. Yeah. Any of the others at this point? We've had Coffee step forward.
And
Ian?
just keeping an eye on Ian, seeing what she does.
Yeah, I said yeah, Lady Featherstone.
Oh, that's right. Yep. So Ian, Greybeard, I think I heard you say yes to.
Yep.
Jarrel said yes. Coffee's okay. So that's Ardreth. We have not heard from Ardreth.
I'm game.
All right, we get a nod of approval from Ardreth, and she says, and I know that actually Balthazar walks forward again and he says, this will not be something taken so lightly. He kind of looks at you all sternly and he says, you may not have known as you've been here in Nightstone for the last week, but we have now confirmed many attacks across the whole Sword Coast, and traveling has become very dangerous. So be sure that you are of stout of heart and strong of arm when you go, and do not believe just delivering a simple message will be something as easy as it may sound. And he seems very sincere in the idea that there is definitely something going on in the Sword Coast that's significant, something that's not usual and is bigger. And for Coffee and Finn, this kind of begins to confirm for the first time. Not only have you seen the results of this attack, so you know that your previous mission that you had been on has been, they're no longer rumors, that you're at the site of an actual attack. And the words from the Magister also provide you with the idea that whatever has been happening, your group will need to know about it eventually, but it's also not just rumors. There's actually something going on.
As he says this, I ask, where else has been attacked?
He starts naming off several towns and villages, probably maybe some maybe many that you do not. Some might be to the north, some might be to the south. Many of them seem to be more north, though. Most of it seems to be coming from the north. Most of it having to do with, some of it was giants, some of it has been goblins and orcs and everything that's been displaced by the giants. You get this idea as he kind of recaps some of the things, and he's only giving you like a very high level thing. He's not describing any of them in detail, but the idea that all throughout the Sword Coast, not only have we been getting reports and have seen the destruction from other attacks by giants, but since the giants apparently are on the move, that is also got other things moving out of areas they wouldn't normally be in. Probably trying to get out of the way of the giants. And he even says to you, Waterdeep believes it to be a significant event. We don't know what it means yet. Nobody seems to know. It's only just happened, but it's definitely dangerous now to be traveling.
So
And-
Charles, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, none of those places were in the High Forest. Like, he never mentioned anything about the High Forest.
No, he doesn't know of anything. He doesn't mention anything in the High Forest, so he doesn't think to say about anything in the High Forest.
Okay.
You can tell all the things he named were probably things within several miles of Waterdeep, but he didn't name Waterdeep, so it wasn't like Waterdeep was attacked either.
So Jarl's going to kind of take a few steps toward the Magister, and when he mentions, I can't remember what he said, but it was basically, don't be anybody that's weak of heart, don't go. Jarl's just gonna look at him, with as direct an expression, just directly into his eyes, and he says that we have two fallen comrades. That is, our resolve has not been stronger. There is nothing weak with this group.
Yeah, when he had made that comment, Greybeard's eyes went all samurai, and you could hear the physical creak in the wood of the haft of his axe as he was like, "Oh, I'm looking for, displaced rage or misplaced rage to, try to fill the hole in my heart."
Yeah, and the Magister is looking at you with, a look of respect. You do notice the constables, as you guys make kind of a very covert, aggressive stance. They have their hands on their weapons, and they have the look of, if something were to start, they're ready for it. The other three constables, but the Magister looks at you and says, he kind of looks at you and nods and says, "Good, you're gonna need that."
I'll nod and I'll glance over at the guards that took a step forward, and I'll just kind of wave at them to back off, and Jarl will take a step back.
Yeah, they are silent and they just stay where they're at.
My message was delivered.
All right. So as the group begins to wind, as everybody begins to leave, I guess that was what they had summoned you for. Daphne, again, maybe she will individually, shake each person's hand and say thank you. And then she kind of looks to Ian to be the last one to leave, and she wanted to talk to you as all the others have left, and she kind of waits to speak with you privately.
Sure. Yeah. I'll stay back.
Okay. And she hands you a sack of gold, what you assume is gold in the pouch. And she says, "Here's the money that I hope you will be able to get to my family, and they will be able to procure passage back here to Nightstone. Here's the inside also is a letter explaining what has happened so far and this crazy turn of events. And she says, "Do be careful, though. I do not wish any of you to lose your lives over such a request as this. I do want to see my family, and it would be great if they could be here, but I also want to make sure that nobody's life is lost over this." And she hands you the sack of money and the note that's attached to that.
And I say, do not worry. I feel that from what the magistrate says nowhere is safe anyways. But thank you for your kind words, and we'll be sure to deliver this to your family on the Tribord Trail. Be safe. I know you will do right by this town, Lady Featherstone. And I nod at her, and I turn to leave.
Okay, yep, she gives you the nod, and then we have you exit the keep. And they go back to, again, there was more papers on the table, and there's more writing, and they're making lists and notes and ledgers, and things are happening. So, okay. So at that point, the group can do what it wants. It is evening time at this point, and it's up to you what you would like to do. The town goes on with what it does. At night, they're in their homes. The guards are still changing regularly at the towers, but the group is able to gather and decide what their next course of action is.
Before we head out, I try and get Lady, I guess Lady Daphne's attention, and maybe the guards as well, and just mention to them that we've been holding up in the church for the past several days, just as a place of shelter. With everybody back in town, it's probably going to be a place that people are going to gravitate to, and it would be inappropriate for us to be staying there. Is there anywhere that we can stay in the town that's not disturbing anybody?
She thinks, she says to you, I am sure that the townsfolk are okay with the heroes of Nightstone staying at the temple. Let me look at one thing, if there was anybody that survived from that. I don't recall.
Probable that we could leave in the morning, though, so.
What's that? Where's that at? Did anybody survive that? The temple.
None that you mentioned.
Oh, actually, you're right.
Is that the
Now I
missing
find
one?
out somebody. The missing person. Yeah, Hyrule Mistrum. That's who that person is. Yeah, he sleeps in the back room, Hyrule. And he's an acolyte of Lathander. Basically the village's acolyte who basically kept up the temple. But I don't think he gave any of the sermons or anything like that. I think he was just kind of like a lower level priest of some sort. So yeah, and he's been sleeping in that back room, whereas you guys have been sleeping in the main room. So Hyrule Mistrum is.
Okay. Would we
sleeping
have already crossed paths with them?
there. Sure. Yep.
Okay. All right. So I'm assuming then that we've just made arrangements to stay there then.
Yeah. He said you guys are welcome to stay there. Welcome to seek shelter here for as long as you need. And he's been cleaning up stuff, scrubbing floors of the blood in the back room. If you remember, there's a main room that has pews and a lectern, and that's kind of where you guys have been staying. And then there was a back room that was basically a study and a bedroom, and that's where the fight had happened and where a lot of the blood was. So he's been cleaning up the blood and stuff and rearranging, and he's trying to figure out how he's going to fix a glass window.
Okay.
With the dwarf size hole in it.
Yes, with a dwarf size hole in it.
I'm going to. Do I see Greybeard in there?
I don't know. Do we see Greybeard in there? Where's Greybeard?
I think as the crowd dispersed, I would catch up to Zolkin, and I'd give him my patented, thump in the belly kind of thing, and be like, "Well played, well played."
And he gives you a nod, and he also looks to you and says, "I spoke with Galparin, and it sounds as if our interests are aligned. So, I look forward to working with you in the future."
I had hoped that was the case. I didn't know if Galparin was in the wink wink network alone.
Yeah, and he says, "Yeah, definitely work on your covertness, as we typically do not let people know the group that we are a part of, but we'll see if you will be useful to the network." And he makes sure that nobody's around as he's talking to you with that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I wouldn't have said anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. And then where do you end up after that?
I peel off then, because now I feel dumb that I worked on the stupid inn all day, and I lump off to the temple.
Okay. So we have the scene of the group all meeting up probably for the first time. Everybody's in the same spot at the same time in the church, and I'm hoping spontaneously a discussion of what your plan is about to happen.
So before that happens, I see the priest as he's kind of in the room, cleaning up and doing things, probably at the window. And I approach him and I kind of glance over at Greybeard, and I say that you've got enough things to worry about here, and I give him 10 gold for the window.
He says thank you, and he kind of walks over and he puts it in a little box, a wooden box that's obviously like the box that gets passed around during ceremonies and sermons and things like that. And he says he will definitely use this to fix all that's been damaged by those goblins here. And goes and continues to sweep up glass and clean blood off floors and such.
I look sternly at Greybeard.
Did he did he build a new box or put a new box out? Because that box is not there.
Yes, he has seemed somehow miraculously has found another box.
The backup box.
Yes, the backup box. There was more than one that gets passed around.
All right, I go up to the backup box and pour a bunch of coin in it.
He's like, all these coin look familiar. No, okay. Yeah, and he just thanks you and then continues working. He tries to stay out of your guys' way also. He's very thankful that you've saved him. He's thankful that you've saved his town. You've run off all the things that might have destroyed the temple, or this temple. But he tries to stay out of your way out of respect for you guys' privacy and not being around you. So,
sorry, I'm mute. When the group's in the church all together, I guess we should determine what our next course of action is. If we decide to leave tomorrow, or when we decide to leave for Tribor, I have something I need to take care of. But before we discuss all of that, the generous gift that was given to us, to some of us, from Lady Daphne, it brought to mind, do we have I know I'm fairly new to the group, But it's never been clear to me if we have a group treasury or anything like that, where we have coin that we can use for group activities or
You
group
hear
needs.
me snort in the background. Um, and
Seems
I
to
look
me
very
it's the dwarf.
pointedly at Greybeard.
Oh, you want to hand your coin over? It'll get put to good use.
As I say, for group use.
Oh, group. I did. And he seems to like reach in his pockets and you hear coins, but then he pulls his empty hands out.
So I guess that is a no. I have no very little use for coin. My needs are meager, so I could volunteer myself to take care of the treasury if that is what the group wishes.
I make no movement. I make
Okay.
no movement at all.
Unless somebody else would like to volunteer.
As coffee's typing, but do any of us know about that bag?
I don't know about it.
No.
No.
No, I don't think I do either.
Just the conscience of Ardreth.
Arthur.
And none of us were there because I thought
No,
I
wait.
was there.
I told everyone that all of the loot was there from the cave when we got back, and said we'd split it up later.
Yeah, because I thought I saw the
Yep.
treasure because I was with you at the box.
No, and I'd mentioned that to everyone when we got back.
Okay.
Well, then yes, we do know about it.
Well, but maybe that's a good idea.
Where'd your token go, Ardreth?
I was way down by the house, helping to
gotcha.
fix it.
I'll move you over.
I just
There you
didn't
go.
move the token back.
Sure. If you want material things in there, we should put it in that bag.
I can tell you what's inside the bag if I go off mute even easier. So,
Sure.
inside the bag was, here we go. There was a bag of holding, 12 gold piece, so we got a whole lot more off this. 55 copper, 87 silver, a silver salt and pepper shaker set. 25 gold pieces, thieves' tools, 25 gold pieces, and a holy symbol of Sylvanus, which was 25 as well.
Cool.
And
Somebody
well, the
write
things in parentheses are approximate numbers. You're not sure how much you would get if you actually sold them. But I want you to write them down in case that ever came up.
So I nod to Ardreth and suggest that maybe would you like to be the treasurer?
Sure, I would be happy to hold on this. Sir, are we going to split it or keep all this as community funds?
I think the idea would be for community. I mean, each of us have our own needs, but we can pool our resources together.
All right, I would be happy to keep it then.
And I might not have mentioned, but she offered for delivering the message safely in the bag of money that Ian has. She was willing to give each of you 20 gold for bringing the message safely and bringing the money safely to her family in Tribor.
How much gold was in the sack that she gave me?
You don't know. You just have a sack.
All right.
You can count it.
Fair enough.
So do we travel to Tribor?
Yeah, I say. Well, Jarrel has the thing he wants to do. I don't know where this thing is, or if it's on the way.
You do know that Tribor is to the north, and you probably most likely would be heading back to Waterdeep first, and then you would be heading northeast from Waterdeep up to Tribor. Some of you may know that, some of you may not, but at least one of you knows how to get to Tribor.
So I would so if we're going to Waterdeep first, I can travel with you there, and then I need to take care of something. It may take several days, but I can meet up with you in Tribor.
Sure.
Sounds good.
The Waterdeep and Tribor.
Sounds good.
Hey, does Tigray have any relatives in Tribor or in Waterdeep?
She does have relatives, or he does have relatives in Waterdeep. That's where he was working at the
All right.
Emporium.
Finn will say I have dealings with Tigray's family there.
And I believe it's customary for whoever was in the presence of the dead to say their piece to the family, especially if they were close friends. And they could have saved him.
Do we...
Oh, I hate
I
to-
threw my body between the slime and you.
do we know that, or is that, or one of you guys telling us that?
It's common knowledge that he has family there. That's what he would have talked about.
I was gonna say GB would have known.
All right.
Before he joined TU, he was at a magic emporium. Casting identifies and detect magics on everything that came through. That was his desk job. Then he got the idea to go adventuring, and his mom said, "Don't." Everybody said, "Don't."
Now he's dead.
They were
Except
right.
Greybeard said, "Oh, come on, kid."
Exactly. They said that dwarf you're hanging around with has bad intentions.
Bad juju. Okay, so is it kind of communicated to the group that we should all be there, or because I wouldn't know that?
No. I was just doing that to mess with Greybeard.
Oh, all right.
That's not a requirement.
Well, it is a
Well,
long
thanks,
walk.
family.
Are we leaving in the morning then?
Jarrel
Ready.
nods.
Yeah,
Man,
6
he's
a.m.
been working all day.
if only we had a bear to ride.
Like he would let you write him.
We wouldn't all fit on it.
You know Greybeard's dreaming about that.
I
Riding a
don't want
bear.
to know about a Greybeard's dream.
Exactly. That better be your Warhammer, Greybeard.
Again,
can you-
exactly.
Can you do me a favor, Tigray, and tell me what Ka'Feyblak looks like?
Yeah, so he's actually a sun elf, so he's kind of he does have kind of blondish hair, blue eyes, kind of a bronzy complexion. But other than that, the picture is pretty. He does wear a face cowl, and he's in all leather armor with a sable fur cloak on, and he wields. He's got 2 short swords. He's got a bow and a quiver. And he's fairly thin.
He's a waif.
And what's his
He's not very
demeanor like?
wafy, but his demeanor right now is very kind of just he's analyzing everybody and not talking a lot. When he does talk, he usually is talking to Finn.
It's because you got to take the cowl off.
Why do
Yeah,
you wear a mask? Were you burned by acid or something like that?
No, it's actually so that when other mages, when he's casting spells, you can't see the somatic components. He believes it's harder to counterspell that way.
Things steal your
Nice.
offense that way and getting you in trouble.
Ah.
And he does have
His
you see
nickname's Belichick.
tattoos on his arms occasionally, whenever he's got his bracers showing, that are little leopard spots all along his arms.
Oh.
Okay, so we are we ready to fade to black on the night there and have morning pick up?
Sure.
Is there anything anybody else is going to do during the night?
No, I'm good.
Nope.
Okay.
I would like to count the gold in the sack. That's something I would like to do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there is 200 gold in that sack.
All right. Thanks.
Do you read the note?
No.
Okay.
Why would I do that, Lucian? What do you
I'm
think?
not sure why you would count that the money. But okay.
If you're
Well, to make
suspicious
sure all
enough to count the
200
gold,
Or are you suspicious of your party taking it, so you're counting it so you can check it each
Oh,
night?
that's actually a good idea.
Maybe.
She doesn't trust the
that's
party.
fine.
I like it. All right. So let's fade into the morning, and I assume you tell Daphne that you're going to be leaving, and you guys want to leave fairly early.
Yeah.
All right, and we have a
Very good.
scene of, we'll kind of do an abbreviated scene, but we'll do a scene of, especially the guards like Sidiri and Kaelin, and those that were in Nightstone with you guys the most. They definitely all come down and wish you luck and shake hands or hugs, depending on what type of person you are. And Daphne thanks you again, and you guys begin to travel south down the road. Is that good, or is there anything that anybody wants to do as we hit the road?
Nope.
No, Greybeard gives big hugs.
Okay. What's the traveling order of our group? Well, how does this new constituted group travel?
I want to be out in front about 50 feet.
Okay.
I'm going to be in the middle.
Okay.
All right. Finn will be in the front of the secondary column, I guess.
I'm good towards the back again. And while I'm back there, I'll keep an eye. I'm watching the party, but also watching behind us and scouting in that direction.
Okay. So, all right.
GB lumps along as best he can, occasionally having to use the dash action just to keep up.
All right. Where's Coffee?
He's right next to Finn.
Oh, okay. First rank. So 2x2s, you guys are walking, or is everybody just walking like a single file down the road?
I'll walk next to Finn.
Okay. All right. So you guys head south along the road, and throughout the day. So quickly you get down to the road that begins to head. The road heads south, but then it heads west, kind of curves to the west, and you meet back up with the road that runs north-south, the trade road. In fact, let's bring you over to the map so you can see it, just so you guys get an idea. So basically, you're heading down from Nightstone down to the tradeway. You make it down to the tradeway again, and you cross over the bridge that's there, and you guys are starting up on the north side of the tradeway, heading towards Waterdeep. And just before, you're probably within an hour of sundown, Ian, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Please don't be shit.
Okay. You actually probably get a little closer than you would have liked, and when you recognize, you think you see a carriage up the road, and what kind of threw you off a little bit is that the idea that it's on its side, and the picture of that wasn't making sense to you, so you actually walked pretty closer to it. And then you realize, wait a minute, that's a carriage that's on its side. It's not. Now your brain figures out what it is. And you were probably, let's say,
It better not be that old couple again.
You're probably within 70 or 80 feet of it.
All right.
And the
I'm
group
about
is a little
50
bit
ahead of
behind you.
party.
Yeah.
So I immediately stop the moment I figure that out. I put out a hand, like saying stop to my group if they could see me.
Mm-hmm.
And I take a quick look around me. I'm listening for any sort of movement of anything dangerous as I slowly back away towards my group.
Okay.
If everyone stops, I blunder into who's ever in front of me.
Okay, so let me move
Ouch.
you guys over.
Just
That
dominate
better be a
that.
warhammer.
Nice.
All right.
And then immediately I go, got it. Like, aha, they're in that tense fight thing. And so I grip my axe.
Okay,
we
so
take
yeah,
a
you
short
guys
break?
could see a. Well, we're gonna end here pretty quick. We're almost done with tonight's session. So, Ian, so you kind of walk back to the group, and you guys can kind of see up the way. You could see an overturned, even though I couldn't turn it over on its side. Basically, a carriage that's turned over on its side, and that's about what you can see. And then as you get to Ian, each one of you can make your perception check.
Oh, my favorite. Oh, look at me, look at me.
All right. Yeah, so you can 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we're missing Ardreth.
It's because I was on the wrong screen. There you go. Sorry about that.
There you go.
Snap.
Okay, so definitely Jarrel, Coffee, and Ardreth. You guys hear like the sound of crunching, the sound of maybe some bones, just faintly, maybe something eating. You're not quite sure. Greybeard and
good.
Finn, you're not hearing anything, and Ian, it wasn't something that you had noticed, but it's coming from further up the road. You assume it's somewhere near the carriage, but the carriage is blocking your view of whatever it might be.
I don't like the sound of that.
Is this all flat around this?
Yeah, pretty much flat ground with some trees and bushes here and there.
From my experience, crunching never ends well.
It's
I look
always
at
a
the
good beginning.
I look at the group and under my breath I say, do you want to flank on both sides? Half of us one way, half of us another. And come up behind it. Around it.
I'm not much for stealth.
Neither am I. But
I can.
so
I
split
can
up the
stealth
party.
out south. It's what we do best, right?
But I can be a good distraction, and I'll pull my helmet on and pull my warhammer out and strap up my shield.
Okay, again with the belly thump into Finn. Like, yeah, me too.
So who wants to lead which party?
Sounds like Greybeard and I are walking down the street.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't. Would a 16 have worked? Or, I'm sorry. I got a 5. No. I have a. I think. I want to say. That.
Oh, it's a daytime. Everything is
Yeah,
just-
I have disadvantage on perception checks in the daytime.
Yeah,
So that-
then yeah, you just didn't hear that sound, but they told you it. So
All right. Well, I'll hold back because I'm not going to be much good.
All right. I'll head up this way.
okay,
Is this a tree?
yeah,
All right. So I'll kind of stand under the tree.
all right, and so yeah, so when you guys move to there, you can still hear it. Now that you're listening for it, you can definitely hear something. It's just on the other side, and Coffee, right when you're about there, you're able to see what appears to be something eating the carcass of a horse. It's kind of hunched over it. It looks big.
Troll, perhaps?
I would like the stealth
Oh,
if they haven't seen us.
it multiplied.
Well, knowledge nature. Is that what they are?
Yeah, go
Don't
ahead.
hit it with lightning and don't attack it with slicing.
Okay. Okay,
Rule of thumb.
Tigray.
You
Yeah.
hear Tigray's voice say
If
that.
anybody the people that could probably see it at this point are Ian and Coffee. Ian, I think you would probably know. Coffee, you probably would know, but maybe go ahead and give me a nature check. The rest of you, the carriage is still blocking your vision from the spots you were at. No, I'm going to say Coffee, you don't recognize it. Maybe it's just because it's hunched over and its back is to you at the moment. You're not quite sure. Ian, you're pretty sure that what you can see, you think it's trolls.
Trolls. So I before I try and get all stealthy and stuff, I signal down to the party and I signal 2. And I mouth trolls in case they can hear me, in case they can see what I'm saying, but it's 2 of them.
Okay.
2, I say big, and then I try and stealth around.
Okay. Now, yeah, everybody give me a stealth check at this time, as I assume everybody's trying to be quiet and not gain their attention.
I think I do get normal on this.
I look at Finn like, does he assume wrong?
But I have
It's a
to
good
stay
thing
under the
Ardreth
tree.
is way in the back.
I'm not exactly trying to be quiet.
Graver though, what is it?
So Coffee and Ian, you see them kind of look up and not really look towards you or anything, but they start sniffing the air. And right at that moment, you realize that the wind is blowing from your direction to them. And they start to smell, and they've now smelled something.
Dwarf.
And they stand up and they look towards you, and they make just a step as they catch the smell of the dwarf. And now they're starting to smell also Coffee. Oh wait, there was somebody else that didn't have one. Ardreth. They actually pick up Ardreth also, and they give out a roar.
I knew I shouldn't have used that Axe body spray.
And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and have everybody. Let me grab my
Dwarven
thing.
battle axe body spray.
Let me clear it. Remove.
Axe body spray.
And everybody can roll initiative.
Weak.
You have disadvantage on initiative also, Colonel? Or no?
I do if no, I don't. It's only on perception and ability checks and attack rolls when I'm in sunlight. If I'm in the shade, I'm okay, and if I'm attacking, both the target and myself have to be in shade.
Look
The
at that.
attack rolls is the brutal one.
Right.
All right. Is that everybody? I see Ian. No, I'm missing Ardreth.
Ardreth.
I rolled it. Oh, you wanted to send the results. I got a 14. Why did it not go through?
So click your token first, and then hit initiative again. But I'll write in the 14 when it's there.
And I was so proud of myself. I actually remembered where it was.
Yeah,
this
no
time.
problem.
We're getting there.
So go ahead and do it one more time. It'll put yours there, but I'll just change it to a 14.
Oh, there we go.
Oh no, Ardreth was there. I saw the 14 there. It's
Okay.
right above mine.
But not in the turn order.
It didn't attach it to the token, though, I think. Did it get that time?
Yep.
Oh, I see.
All right.
Yeah, it showed up in chat. It just didn't show up on the token.
So when we come back in our next session, as we've hit 10 o'clock, this is the part where we either take a break and we continue longer if the party is willing to continue longer, or we call our session if people need to attend to other things. What say the group?
I'm good to go.
I got to
Right
call
now.
it tonight. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
So when we come back, we will have a troll fight on our hands, and we will be starting off with Coffee and Ian leading off the fight as we attack some trolls that have apparently attacked a carriage on the road north to Waterdeep. All right. Well, I want to say thanks for everybody joining. You can always check out the VODs on Twitch, and you can always, I will be getting the videos. I'll get caught up this week, and I'll get everything up on YouTube this week as we get caught up, because last session was a great session. I definitely recommend it. Also, you can catch me streaming on Saturday nights on a campaign that's the Lost Mines of Phandelver that's being run by Colonel, and you can see me as a player there instead of as the GM or DM, depending on what game you play. I want to say thanks to all our players, and we'll go ahead and call it there. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week. We'll start off the episode with an epic battle, and we'll see how our party fares against 2 trolls. The first time they've met something like this. So, all right, I will put the character screen up for just a minute or two for those of you that are in the stream, and then I'll go ahead and stop the stream. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you at the next one.